We're learning over here that when you learn anything that you learn, and a Gemara, anything, you should know that the tzaddik who's mechadish thing, let it be the Rambam, let it be the Gemara, let it be the Chumash we said, let it be the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu was one who wrote the Torah in the name of Hashem. That neshama comes and hugs you. Amazing. Literally, that's what Nachman says. And he has gewaldige nachas ruach, whoever you're learning. And that could help a person enormously to do tshuva, because then you get siyata d'shmaya from the thing. That's what he says. It's an incredible thing. That means it's not only that he says the power is that you could renew your life. That means, sometimes we go through like just as darknesses in life. If you learn with thinking about this tzaddik right now here, gives a person to do tshuva, because it's not only like if we stop a bad habit, it's great, but we have to fix the past. That's very difficult. By learning this way, the koyach of the tshuva is so high that it could literally fix the past. Very, very powerful. And then he says another thing. Al de oisiga Torah b'kedusha, v'len Torah me'orere b'tshuva pashi yisov v'geira. By learning Torah b'kedusha, you mamish me'orere the pashi yisro and geira. So when you learn, whatever you learn, Chumash, Rashi, Gemara, Daf Yomi, L'kita Moran, anything that you learn has the power to bring out the Pashi. So I claim that this Torah, Micromanagement, I claim that the Baal Tshuva movement was an incredible movement. It was very strong in the 78. I don't know, it's a little less, they say, people involved in that. But we didn't have this in history. We never had that people that became from like this. History, normally, unfortunately, we're always losing people. Not too many becoming fly people. Is because there's a lot of Torah being learned. There's a lot of more Torah than ever. There's a lot of Torah being learned. The koyach of Torah has to arouse people who have no shaychas to Yiddishkeit, even goyim, to come close to Hashem. The koyach of Torah is so powerful, and the reason for this is because the whole world lives through Torah. So the Zohar says that Chaim Volozhin has a whole big piece, but in everything there's the Oisius of Torah. The whole world stands on Torah. And when you learn Torah, any divrei Torah, that's the amazing thing. That means you learn as tiny chiddush. You say a good word that you read, that you heard on the parsha. A nice cute word, a gematria. It's Torah. That Torah is so powerful that literally it goes in the ear and people come from. If you watch this, sometimes you have people like you. I don't know what turned them on. I the first time realized, I don't realize most of it. The first time I remember things the first time. Remember I was on the plane, and a lady next to me tells me that her daughter is religious. And she was an older lady, and says, I want to know how I'll tell you, let me say how religious my daughter is. She does not, she's a scientist, probably she and her husband work for one of the science labs in Connecticut, and she said to me, they take the phone off the hook and the bell cannot be rung on Shabbos. Then I really know they're really from. Because they take the phone off the hook, and she told me it's very annoying, I can't speak to my children, my daughter, it's the only daughter I have, and she's the one that's close to me, blah, 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 blah. So I asked her, how did she become from? I asked her, how did your daughter, was it about Tshuva movement? She told me she read the book of Anna Frank. I went and I asked my wife to get me the book Anna Frank.
Okay.
There's nothing there. Nothing there that turned a person to Yiddishkeit. Nothing. So obviously, I've heard this from others, that this tiny thing, just a small tiny thing turned them on, which doesn't make sense even.
It is a powerful thought.
Yeah, but doesn't bring back to Yiddishkeit, but she suffered.
But she went through it.
Went through it. Just the opposite, I would think. Went through it. It doesn't say like, she was enjoyed Hanukkah and she felt the light and nothing. So I'm just saying that's exactly that. What was Ma'ir? The koyach HaTorah that's in the ear, that's going on, being learned, has such a koyach. It's very, very important to remember this.
It also has a lot to do with that. In that situation, it has to do a lot with the age of the person, the experience of the person.
Yeah, of course.
Not just,
It has many factors involved. The older people don't become from. You know, I remember that I had a neighbor who was about Shiva. His mother was 50 years old. I thought she was an old lady. I was 28 and she was 50. She said to me she would love to be in religious life. It's so hard. She sees what Shabbos is all about and what Yom Tov is all about. It's so hard. She told me herself, it's so incredibly difficult for me, this age, all of a sudden. I said, start with small things. But remember, she was incredibly inspired. And I have people, I won't say names on tape, but I have someone who lives in your neighborhood. Her mother became from, much earlier. She was inspired. So I'm just saying, it has to do with age, it has to do when you're young, it's much easier, and it has to do with many, many, many factors. It has to do what type of neshama you have. But the koyach HaTorah, this is very important. Whenever you learn Torah, you should know it affects not just you, your wife, children, and people around you. It's a very, very, very powerful. People don't realize this. It's an incredible, powerful thing. Because we are all connected, Claudia, so to one. And the Torah that you learn is just like when a person eats something, the nutrients goes all over his body. We learn Torah, it has effect on everyone. But then he says, to be zocher to Torah, to be so powerful, you must have humbleness. You must have humbleness. Without humbleness, it doesn't work, he says. And then he says, all the Hisbaldedis, making Hisbaldedis. Now listen to this. She's boided, the Yuden Yishpedis Atzma called V'Mosheisa. Part of this Hisbaldedis, what I do, I'd make a cheshbon nefesh. So when you make Hisbaldedis, just say, what am I doing? This is good. Am I wasting my time? And am I, can I be a nicer dad, a nicer businessman, a nicer husband, daven better? That cut out the davening, I always joke with people. They cut out the beginning and they cut out the end, keep cutting pieces. He says, you naspa koladun m'shoyser. You judge yourself, everything what you do. It's very, very, very helpful, but it's very humiliating sometimes. People don't like to judge themselves. You don't like to look at ourselves. But this all the Baal HaMussar brings down. It's based on a Zoyim with the Cheshbon. He says, well, they yiske, then you zoiche together, and if you great Yerushalayim, and then you zoiche to learn Torah with humbleness. You know why? Because when you start judging yourself, you realize you're not so great as you really think you are. Then he says, if you do this, you zoiche to maybe to daven in a very powerful way, and the zoiche to understand the secrets of the Torah. Secrets of the Torah is very easy for people to think they could. It's very, very, very difficult to understand. It's a feeling thing. It's like, it's not something like, so it's good. So in short,
what does that mean?
To understand the secrets of the Torah, anyone could, you can learn the result, any smart person can learn through the result. It's just, if it is brilliant, you could figure out, but to get the feeling what it really means and the secrets will have an impact on you, not just to be a scientist, you have to have, because we're talking about things over there which we only could say words, but it's not really what it is because it's beyond our, see, everything in this world is explained by comparison. You experienced sweetness, so when I tell you the coffee is sweet, you know what sweet means. If you never tasted sweetness, you don't know what I'm talking about. And I tell you it's a blue jacket, it's because you know what blue is. So all I'm saying when I say blue is I am telling you, comparing to the blue that you know what blue is. Right? And everything's that. When a guy says he's strong and mighty, you know how the word strong and mighty is used. You know? But to try to explain a person's spirituality with the shum, it's very, very difficult. It's extremely difficult.
So what's the Torah behind that idea?
What do you say?
What's the Torah behind the idea of comparison? It's a fascinating. I never thought about it that way. The way that there's got to be a Torah behind that.
Yeah, there's. I don't remember now, but that's why Sister Torah is so complicated, because it's we can't compare it to anything. So
I always tell my kids I hate comparisons.
That's what it is. I hate compare because
No, my friend does it. He's like the kid.
That's what children do all day long.
No, to say it so, but now I think about it, like the chachma of the world is based on comparisons.
Of course, it's based on comparison.
So,
Everything is based on comparison. Everything. That's how we communicate. There's no other way to communicate otherwise.
I guess that's the godless of saying something Torah, which is unique in and of itself.
So if you judge yourself, it's very important, you become humble, you can daven better, and you can understand the secrets of the Torah. And I'm doing it for years. It's very difficult to judge yourself. Very difficult. You don't like to do that. And then you tell yourself, I'm doing it again. I keep on doing it again. Messed up again. That's why it's like, it really humbles a person. See, the biggest thing that we could do for the world is to change yourself. The most powerful thing you could do as a parent is to be a good yourself.
Right. Yeah.
That's really what it is. I watched this with my own parents. It's like the greatest imprint is not when you're disciplined, and that's very important. But the children remember, who the goodness of the person himself is. And he says another very important thing. That's Chafalev. He says, when a person learns Torah, the more Torah you learn, the more you attach to Torah, the more the Shgoch of Hashem Yisborach is with you, watches you. Because the Rabbi Shalom, this is a very famous question. The Rabbi Shalom, I used the new word the last few years, micromanages the world. Not just manages the world, he micromanages the world. Which, species should exist, which not, which sheep should be geschechtet today, which line should, do its job, from the ant to the and everything is about shared. But when you're closer to Torah, it's a whole different hashgacha. There is, but it comes through a much higher level to watch. Much higher level. The Rebbeinu Shalom watches you in a different way. And this more shmira. And it says, so the more Torah you learn, the more successful you'll be. The Hashgacha of Hashem is with you. The bracha of Hashem is with you. So the Kitim Maran says, and not just him, the Letziv, and the Punim Yufas, the Rebbe Chasam Sofer, so many say this. If you steal time for Torah, every day you make sure you learn Torah, you'll be successful in your parnasa. Someone came to the Netziv, and his Talmud, and came, he had no parnasa. He said, probably not learning every day. How could I learn? I have no parnasa. Start learning every day. That's exactly what he did. Start learning every day, and the parnasa turned around. Okay. Stop it.